Hello, and welcome to day 4 of Rising Sun Previews.
I just got a look that said, "I'm gonna do the intro." I'm not saying anything. I'm also here. Hello.
I just had to
You're
make
like
sure that you weren't
watching
going
me.
to
Yeah,
interrupt me.
exactly.
Okay.
I would never interrupt you.
Mm-hmm.
I would go first, but I wouldn't interrupt you.
Okay, well, in any case, yeah, so we're on day 4, and today's title is On Play Debt. This time around, debt isn't just in costs. Here are 3 cards that charge you debt when you play them. So,
Whoa. Sorry, that's just like wow. I'm the expression of the emoji.
whoa! All right, well, let's
What?
bring up the image so that the viewers can see what we are reacting to. So the first card we have is Root Cellar, plus 3 cards, plus 1 action, and plus 3 debts, and it's a 3 cost action. So this, we were just talking yesterday. How much would you pay for plus 3 cards, plus 1 action?
Hello.
Well,
That's pretty cool. First of all, what is a root cellar?
I assume it's a cellar where you store roots. And I assume by roots they mean like root vegetables.
Okay.
It's hard to tell from the art if that is the case, but that would be my guess.
Okay. Okay.
Carrots.
Just to get this out of the way, art is beautiful, no notes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a little mind blown right now. That's kind of like crazy.
It is.
I like it. I like it. It also feels very Dominion to me. I don't know.
So
I like it as a mechanic. I think it's a wonderful like completion. It makes it feels right to me. I don't know. I'm sorry I can't explain this better, but it just
It also makes sense why you would be able to pay debt mid-turn if you can like take debt mid-turn, right? Not just in your buy phase. Because this is the first time I think that there's been a way to take debt outside of your buy phase. Well, unless you count buying a debt card from the black market, maybe. I mean, that's still kind of like a buy phase, but it's not technically a buy phase. Anyway, so, but what do we think about this card? What do you think about this card as a card?
First of all, I'm like three coins is not much, so I feel like it must, like, to me 3 coins feels cheap.
Yeah. The price to acquire this card.
Yes.
Yes, for sure.
So the 3 debt must really hurt you. Which is not what I would anticipate, I guess. But like, yeah. So right now when I see it, I feel like the debt is kind of negligible, and like what I see is plus 3 cards, plus 1 action, which is pretty good for a 3 cost card. So I have to assume that the 3 debt actually like hurts, which makes sense. Like in the beginning, like surely this is a card that you will always open. Well, okay, surely this is a card that I would think I would always open. I don't know. And then like if I get to draw 3 cards with it, yeah, then maybe like in the end I only have 3 coins left to like for my turn to pay anything. I don't know. I find it weird to gauge.
Yeah. Okay.
What's your impression?
I think I have a pretty different view on this. I don't think this is very strong. I think it could be in the right circumstances, but like if your deck is especially payload dense, but I think 3 debt is a lot for this effect, and like the effect is really good and really powerful, but like I think this will add up very quickly. If you're using a couple of these to draw your debt, it's like draw your debt. But also to draw your deck. If you think about like, okay, I play like 3 of these, and then I have 9 debt, and that's like, oh, that's like a platinum that I can't buy. Like that's a lot of money.
Oh, that's a good point.
I
Yeah,
and
the accumulation is a good point. I
yeah,
wasn't thinking.
it's and it's not like either like there's a way around it by like, you know, it's like, oh, you thrown this, so you're still gonna get like +3 debt twice. Like the yeah, it's, you know, another way to look at it, this is like each one of these that you play could be offset by like a loot, like let's set aside endless chalice and doubloons for a second, but um so like if you compare this um like to like so if you have like this and a loot, it compares like it's like kind of like having a lab for 3, which does sound good, right? But you have to find like get the loot into your deck and then find it. I mean, you could say the same with the gold. It doesn't have to be a loot. I just loot's more exciting than gold, but you could just say a gold, I guess. But you still have to get, like, if you buy this and a gold versus buying like 2 labs, like that's now like you're paying a like slightly less for this plus the gold, but like your deck is going to be slightly less reliable too compared to just having 2 labs.
Is it like a tide pools?
No, I mean, yes, I understand where you're going with that, but like this like the debt hurts your current turn, not your next turn, right? Like, well, it hurts your next turn if you don't pay it off, like, but it hurts your current turn, like in a way that Tide Pools does not. Tide Pool and I would say like the penalty on Tide Pools I think is worse than this. Like I think this is it's easier to deal with this. Like you if you have payload in your deck, like, you know, you're paying. I mean, it's kind of like, in a way, it's kind of like Storyteller also, where you use the payload in your deck to draw cards instead of as payload. I just think that like Storyteller is like the scaling is better on that. Like this is cheaper than Storyteller, so it's like easier to get. But like with Storyteller, if I play, like this is basically turning like coins into cards, like at a 1-to-1 rate, and so is Storyteller, but Storyteller is doing it like more compactly, I guess would be the way to say it. Plus Storyteller also draws 1 additional card. Like it gives you the 1 extra card before it starts drawing. So really this is like, you could sort of say it turns 3 coins into 2 cards, whereas Storyteller turns N coins into N cards, but like more, you know, in a way that's like turning those stop cards into draw rather than almost doing the reverse, where this is like you need the stop cards in order to sustain your draw or something like that. I don't know. So I mean, I don't, like, to be clear, I don't necessarily think this is going to be terrible, and sometimes like this is going to be how you need to draw. But I don't actually think it's very strong, because I do think that this penalty is pretty steep, and I also don't expect to want to open this very much.
Really?
Yeah, like if you have the right 4 cost, it'll be worth it. But if you don't, like, I don't know, maybe like I'm just thinking about like, okay, let's say that you have like, you know, the world's tempoiest tempo trasher bounty hunter as your 4 cost, and you play this and then you bounty hunt your estate, and the 3 coins that you got from the bounty hunter get eaten by the Root Cellar, and now what you have left is, so you increase your hand size by 2, so you had 7 cards after you play this. One of them is the bounty hunter, one is the estate, so now you have 5 cards, so you only hit 5 at that point if you don't see any other estates. And it's like, part of the point of bounty hunter is to be able to hit 5. This isn't going to help you hit 5 with bounty hunter. Like I get the idea is like you get to find your bounty hunter faster. Maybe it's a little better if you're not trying to hit 5, and maybe it's a little bit better if you're playing with a card that's more like, you know, priest or moneylender or something, where
or like travelers.
It doesn't. Yeah, so travelers would be a good example of where I think it would be good. Although this card also risks triggering a shuffle on turn. Like if you see it on turn 4 with your traveler and you trigger a shuffle, then you're going to be sad.
Yeah, so you don't play it.
Well, but then you're sad. Then your opening buy didn't do anything.
Well,
but
that's
it's still
the game sometimes.
Is like travelers in particular care about that more than some other effects do, right? So like that's Yeah, but like the if you really just care about like cycling, like that's the priority, then yeah, absolutely this will get the job done there, no question about it. But if you care about hitting price points, this is not going to help you. This is going to generally be like price negative on play when your deck is full of copper, because you know, even if you draw like 3 coppers with it, you play the 3 coppers. You know, it's almost like warehouse in that way. It's like warehouse, if you draw 3 coppers and discard 3 coppers, you basically just reduce your hand size by 1 to cycle through 3 coppers, which can be a useful effect, but isn't like, you know, like helping you hit price points necessarily. This is kind of a similar thing. I mean, it's not, you don't literally have to like do that with it, but like you can kind of model it in a similar way where it's like when your deck is full of copper, it like has a similar effect to warehouse. It's better when you have more dense payload, right? Once you have, if you have a gold in your deck, you find the gold. Like obviously now the gold pays off the debt, and then the other like card that you increased your hand size by is now like upside, and now it's kind of more like a lab.
Or you just play it as a chameleon and have one more action, and it's an abandoned village now.
A ruined village.
Ruined village.
That doesn't make it look good either, does it?
What? No way.
So yeah, I think I do actually. Yeah, I like my warehouse comparison. I think that actually makes a lot of sense. It'll be better than warehouse later in the game, though. And it's better, like the fact that you don't actually have to discard the cards means that if discard synergy or whatever isn't, if that or hand size reduction isn't your goal, then this is better than warehouse generally. I mean, it depends on what you draw exactly, but like it's generally going to be better than warehouse because like you're not discarding cards into a shuffle that you trigger if you end up triggering a shuffle, for example. So
yeah, I feel like as with warehouse, there are a lot of scenarios in which it can be like really good. If you have like compare warehouse with the draw to X card, that's nice. If you compare this with combine this with, I don't know, other like your conspirator variants and stuff.
Yeah, but I mean ultimately warehouse is not a very good card.
Yeah, sure. But like they shine sometimes.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think this is like a terrible card, but I don't think it's going to be particularly strong either. But sometimes it is going to be like the draw that you have, and when it is, like you're going to play with it, and you're just going to deal with the fact that your deck doesn't net generate that much payload. It will help if you have like, you know, it will help to have like gain in play where you can turn the draw into payload now rather than payload later, like. Because this is going to give you a lot of draw if you have a bunch of them. So like if you then have like, you know, like a workshop or a university or, you know, artisan or whatever that can generate like cards that are like good payload, then like that'll be nice to combine those things. Okay. We move on.
I'm trying to think of fun combinations with this that like, but there's no real way. Like Merchant Guild is only in biphase, right? For gains in biphase. I was trying to come up with a case where you just like generate coffers that equal out your debt, but like you can only generate coffers when you're out of debt.
Yeah,
you're able to buy something.
Right. I mean, you can. There are other ways to gain cards in your buy phase, of course, like supplies or whatever. But I think it's actually worth noting here with this that like the debt, like doesn't. Merchant Guild is not a cost reduction card, but it functions kind of like cost reduction in the way that it compounds. But the debt aspect of this card doesn't like anti-synergizes with that the same way that it anti-synergizes with cost reduction, right? Like playing this and then playing a bridge troll is not helping you pay off that debt.
Yeah.
So like Merchant Guild's kind of in a similar boat where the power of Merchant Guild is in like the cumulative effect, but the actual coin on Merchant Guild is only one coin.
Yeah.
Right. So it doesn't like combine very well with that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Better with like gold loot gainers, stuff like that just gives you like money, payload, platinum. Like, if this is drawing some platinum for you, like you're making progress.
Yeah, but like buying platinum with a deck full of Root Cellars.
Yeah, well, that's why you've got to get you have to get credit, and then you have to get canal.
Yeah.
Or what was the one that's...
You can't get canal with credit.
Why not?
You have to buy a card.
No, like you have canal, and then you use credit to buy your platinum.
Yeah.
Or what was the one that also had like the cost reduction, like the prophecy with the cost reduction on it from yesterday? I guess I could just scroll up and look at that.
It's not a prophecy.
Oh, maybe it was the day before. Flourishing trade.
Yeah.
Cards cost one less. You may use action plays as buys, right? So action plays as buys, whatever. But like the point is, you have a cost reduction so that you can actually credit your platinum, because otherwise you can't. Anyway.
Okay, change. If you have any debt, +3 coin. What? Oh, I love this. Amazing. Otherwise, trash a card from your hand and gain a card costing more coins than it. Plus debt equal to the difference in coins. Okay, can we have an example of this?
Okay, yeah. Let me see if I can make sense of that.
If we play the Root Cellar and then we play change,
and we just get +3 coins.
Okay, we have
everything else
coins.
Is otherwise.
Otherwise, okay.
So yeah,
so that's great.
If you haven't, change is like pretty clearly specifically intended to combine with Root Cellar, if nothing else,
or like other plus debt cards. Okay, so trash a card from your hand and gain a card costing more money than it. Oh, okay. So I trash an estate, I gain a silver, I get +1 debt.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
But it just says gain a card. Like there's no restriction on that.
No, yeah.
That's insane.
I gain a King's Court. I get 5 debt.
I gain a colony.
I gain a colony.
Like you can just...
That's true.
Turn anything into a colony with this card, or a province, if you don't have colonies around. But like this is like
how does this behave with like fortune, for example? So that would be like estate to fortune would be 6
you cannot turn something into fortune because it has debt.
Because okay, I see.
Yeah, so I said anything, like, but not potion costs
possession.
and not debt cost cards. Yeah, but like it's still, this is one of the most unrestricted gainers. I mean, so long as you're not in debt, this is like one of the most unrestricted gain effects that we've ever seen. Especially on like a remodeler. What is this? It's like Butcher. You don't get the coffers, but you don't need the coffers.
Yeah, you don't need to.
I think Butcher is better, to be clear.
Why?
Well, partially just because it gives you the coffers in the first place, and the trashing is optional, and like it's like it can still bootstrap upwards like that, but it doesn't like give you like you can play multiple butchers, and it's not like, I played the first butcher and I got the big thing, but now I'm in debt and I can't use the second one to get another thing or whatever. So like I think this is more like this is not as good as Butcher, and it is more restricted in practice, but like like the fact that you could just be like turn a copper into a colony.
Yeah.
Like, what?
And like you just like get a whole bunch of changes, and that what you do is like one turn you pay off your debt, the next turn you trash a thing into a better thing.
Well, and if you have a bunch of them, I mean, you trash a thing into another thing, and you play the other ones, you get the coins, and you pay off the debt, and then like that turn, like potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Change indeed.
It is. I mean, it is worth noting that like this. So, if you compare this to like just remodel, right? Like if you just open this and you remodel, like you say, estate into silver, you take a debt. If you open remodel and you remodel estate into silver, you don't take a debt. So like this definitely has that downside, right? Like where any kind of like actual like going up the cost ladder is just going to straight up cost you the debt. And I mean, yeah, if you then maybe that actually works out in your favor because you can then get the money and like you have one debt and now you get 3 coins and that's nice, but like maybe you would have rather just trashed another estate, and so maybe you would have rather just had a remodel. But on the other hand, like if this isn't like your like primary means of getting rid of your junk cards, then I think it looks better like as like a as this kind of like weird like gainer remodeler thing. And obviously like if you're accumulating other debt, then like this gets all then it gets all kinds of wonky. But yeah, it's I mean I do think you're gonna open with this to be like, you know, often enough to be able to remodel estates, because like yeah, like you can remodel the estate into a 5, like cost you 3 debt, but like
That's
hey
fine.
like yeah, like sometimes remodeling an estate into a 5 is a lot better than remodeling it into a 4 like or a 3. So you know I do think this is a good card. Like it's a little hard to say how good it is, especially because like like what are the other sources of debt going to be and how often is that going to come up and whatever. But it just the other like just the otherwise part of this card looks like really cool to me. I'm there's going to be some wild stuff that people do with this.
Yeah, can't wait.
And I mean, if you have like other sources of virtual coins, right, you can basically like you can kind of turn this into plus buy of a sort, right? Like you're like you play a bunch of I don't know festivals or whatever, and you have your 8 coins, and then you use change and you turn a copper into a province, and then you pay off the debt, and now you can do it again with another change, right? So like festival gives you plus buy, so maybe that's not a great example, but like if you didn't have plus buy and you're like I can't double province like the normal way, but I can double province with this thing like without having to have like golds or whatever. Like I don't need, it's not that I need to specifically remodel gold or whatever. I can just turn whatever into province, and I can just use the money that I have to essentially pay for it, like, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like the art by itself. I'm not sure I like it for this card. I like the composition of it. I feel like the trees that we see in front of the house form too much of one area. I would have liked a little more contrast there, so it's not like just one shape basically. That's my note. Other than that, I'm not sure. I mean, change is difficult obviously as a motif. Yeah,
I would have just gone for the pun. There's no way I wouldn't have, I wouldn't have been able to help myself.
What pun?
Just like have like a hand with some coins in it.
Oh,
I would have had to if I were the artist. There's just no other approach I could have possibly taken.
Maybe there were some. Maybe there was a brief.
Specific instructions: do not do this.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to obey those instructions. I would have had to be like, "I'm sorry, let me do a different card."
Yeah, very exciting card for sure.
Yeah. This is a really cool one for sure. Yeah. I would like to play with it.
And then we have Gold Mine. +1 card, +1 action, +1 buy. You may gain a gold and get +4 debt, and it costs 5 coins. First of all, kind of obvious that we will get a gold mine since we have a silver mine. Also, all of these cards will appear in your names overlap whatever quiz. All of them.
All of them? Oh yeah. yes, every single one. You're right. Yep.
So congratulations.
Gold mine will appear twice. Well, sort of. I mean, it will be entered twice. You only have to enter it once, but it will appear in the list twice.
Good for us. Good for the quiz takers.
That's right.
Okay, so I don't know. I don't know. This seems not as exciting as change. I
Yeah.
don't really know. Uh, yeah, I don't think I have like strong feelings about it just yet.
Okay.
Other than like this is also going to, I don't know, four dead seems a lot.
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
I think this card is bad. Um, I so market square or market without the coin for 5 is not good. Like cantrip buy for 5 is not good. You could also say sanctuary without exiling. However you want to put it, that's not good. Like it's not. It's probably not awful, but it's not good. Like you really that card really doesn't need to cost 5. So to be getting 5 value out of it, you really need the gold gaining to be like part of why you're getting this card. But gain a gold and then get 4 debt isn't great either. And like I guess what I'm wondering is why don't you gain the gold to your hand? Because you get 4 debt anyway. It's not even like this turn econ positive. Like I feel like you could gain the gold to your hand and be fine. Like, I don't know. Like I don't think this card would be broken if you could gain the gold to your hand. At that point, I think it might be a good card. But I don't think it'd be broken. As it is, like you potentially don't get to use the gold to pay off the debt, you know, this turn, and I don't know. It just feels bad to me. Like I mean, I guess the idea is like, well, but gold it costs 6, so like, you know, you're getting gold for 4. That's value, but I don't know. It's
Yeah.
I uh,
Yeah. Yeah, I share your unenthusiasm.
yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm underestimating the frequency with which it's worth it to like not be, but like it's kind of like okay, you get the gold for 4 and that is cheap for a gold, but it's also going to be preventing you from buying stuff that isn't gold, which is usually what you want to be doing anyway.
Yeah.
Like other better 5 cost cards for example.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'll have to see it in action, I think.
yeah.
Right now I'm a little underwhelmed.
Yeah.
Uh Underwhelmed also by the art. Um I I would have liked there to be more like this with like the gold. I don't like where the light is coming from. I feel like this makes it look strange. I would have preferred there to be like a lantern or something, and then you can have like a gleam in the wall maybe, but this just makes it seem like where the light is coming from is basically like daylight from the entrance, and then you go down 4 steps and boom, there is where you like mine the gold, which is not makes no sense. And
I'm
don't.
assuming that there is a lantern and
Do you
it's
think
just
that
like
is a lantern?
obscured. His
Yeah.
body is obscuring it. That would be
Oh,
my
I
assumption.
see.
I mean,
Okay.
like at first glance, it looks like there's just a fire.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
looks like it's like a furnace or a forge or something, and I'm like, wait, why? It's a mine.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. He's chipping away at something, and that's just like probably a lantern light. But it really looks like at first glance, it really looks like he's like chiseling something next to like an open flame. Like, why is he doing
Yeah, so
that?
I don't like the composition of this. Yeah. Yeah. Not my favorite.
Yeah. I would say of the arts, the arts here, the 3 arts. I like
The
change.
arts.
I like change the best, mostly just because like I like the lighter or the brighter colors
Interesting. I find like
rather than the darker.
the Root Cellar, I find the artwork strangely satisfying. Like if I were a person to use backgrounds, I like this would be a strong contender for me. I find it like calming. I like the color composition. I like the propositions of it. I no proportions. I like yeah. I find it very very satisfying.
I don't know. I guess I just think it's kind of boring.
I mean,
I like it's like
I find it calming.
I think I like I mentally compare it to spices, where it's like a similar vibe, but then spices you have like the
You
bright
have
colors in the
colors, yeah,
bag.
that's true.
Yeah, much more exciting.
Is this? Oh no, that's not our
Not that it would be
resident brown scale artist.
no, Jesse J. No, I mean it's fine. It's like there's nothing wrong with that. Like that's what it should be. It's a cellar. Like it's not like it. I think it should be different. Just
no, it shouldn't. It's beautiful. It's perfect. This one.
Okay.
Never change anything about it.
All right. Well, I don't think you'll have to worry about that in any case. All right. So I think we can read out what Donald X has to say about these cards.
Okay.
Root Cellar looks a lot like Warehouse.
Wow.
Instead of discarding 3 cards, you get 3 debt. If your cards are good, well, that's way better. If they're bad, then it's worse though. So watch out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's yeah. I mean, way better. I'm not sure that's quite it, but maybe that's fair to say. Change lets you turn something into something better. Curse can go straight into province. Oh, I didn't even say curse. I said copper.
True.
I'm just not thinking far enough outside of the box. Curse into colony, the 11-point swing, or curse into King's Castle, the potentially 18-point swing.
Nice.
You can't just ignore your debt and focus on changing cards, because when you have debt, change makes +3 coins instead of upgrading something. But that can be nice too. Although, if your turns are going to start with root cellars, maybe don't count on change for your trashing. Yeah. Yes, change can gain potion costing cards. Oh, okay, I see. Because you gain a card costing more coins than
so you trash a familiar, you gain a possession.
Yes. Yes. So it can do that, but you can't go from, curse to familiar or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's a good point. And in rare situations, debt costing cards that also cost coins. Yeah. You cannot trash a card into a same cost card, it occurs to me. So like this cannot mill provinces. That's actually a fairly big deal.
But then it can turn anything else into a province.
It can turn anything else into a province, but it can't turn a province into a province, that's pretty important to note. And I hadn't clocked that, but the debt thing, and that's why it can't. I guess that's also why you can't turn like Overlord into City Quarter or whatever. But yeah, you can't if you have like a combined cost card, which doesn't. I guess if you could turn a City Quarter into a fortune with this.
You can?
Yeah, because the City Quarter costs 8 more, or sorry, the fortune costs 8 more coins than the City Quarter. Like the debt cost is the same. If the debt costs were different, it wouldn't work. But yeah. All right. Anyway, so if you need economy, Goldmine makes some, and if you have economy already, it's a buy. Right. Yeah, and I guess I should be clear that like it's not like you need to take gold every turn with Goldmine for it to be worthwhile.
I feel like that's a good, like that's an important part where you don't have to take the golds.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to take the gold. Yeah, but you in order for Goldmine to have been like a good card to pick up. I mean, sometimes it's only the only plus buy, and you're going to get it for that reason anyway. But like, in order for you to feel good about gaining a gold mine, you're going to want to gain a gold with the gold mine. Like that's if you're only gaining it for the plus buy, it's going to feel bad. Like you might have to do it, but it's going to feel bad.
Sure.
But you don't have to gain a gold every time with the gold mine for it to feel like it was worthwhile. Just surely at least once. All right. So now we have some more landscapes.
Prophecies. Whee! All right. Great leader. After each action card you play, +1 action.
Great champion, more like.
Great champion. Why is it gotta be man? I like the horsey. I understand why the perspective is the way it is, but I don't like that the I don't like the background color. I would like a little more contrast, and I would have loved it to be a woman.
Okay. Champion's a woman. I don't.
We already have enough women, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, we've hit quota. It's fine.
Not.
Okay.
So this is the village now. Like everything is like you will never. Yep. You can always play everything.
Yeah, it's
if
champion.
You so choose.
I mean, it doesn't have the attack blocking, I guess, but I find that art just to be a little bit like kind of busy and confusing. Like I'm not really sure exactly what's going on. Like
it kind of looks like the leader is holding people back instead of like being like, argh.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, wait.
And like, where is this person relative to the horse? Like the person behind them is like
next to them.
Are they next to them? It looks like they're like the tail is like right on them, like they would get kicked by the horse or something. I don't know.
What? No, they're next to the horse. They're not behind the horse.
Are you sure?
Yes. Yes.
How can you tell?
Because that's the perspective. Like they're kind of like they're on the same level as like the leader or like closely behind, but they're next to the horse. They're not behind the horse. Like this is the row that is behind the horse.
I guess.
This doesn't speak to the quality of the artwork that we're having this conversation right now.
Yeah.
I will say. Anywho, it's like again, let's accelerate the game and not much I can add to this.
I mean, we all know how Champion works, right? We all know Champion's really good. I don't really think there's a whole lot of like that we need to analyze there. It is a powerful effect, but it is not one that we are unfamiliar with. It'll come online earlier than Champion.
Oh yeah.
Which is going to make a difference because like I'm sure we've all played the Champion boards or the page boards if you prefer, where you know there's a bunch of terminal draw and you're like, how much of the terminal draw do I stuff into my deck before my Champion comes online? Because it's going to be really good when the Champion comes online, but until then it's like pretty awkward. And what this is going to make that less like awkward because it's going to come online faster, and by the time it comes online, well, I mean, I'm making assumptions here about like how the omens are going to play out or whatever, but generally speaking, I would imagine it'll come online faster, and you won't have time to stuff too much terminal draw into your deck until
if like it's just 5 tokens, right, in a 2-player game,
right? So. It's not going to take it's like page into Champion has like an absolute minimum turn count of like 5, right? You have to play each of the travelers once.
And you can start in turn 3.
Well, you can start earlier than that in theory, but yeah, I mean, most of the time, vast majority of the time, that's not going to start until turn 3, and you're not going to do it every turn. Whereas here, like, it's 5 total plays across both players.
Yeah, so that can be like turn 4, turn 5.
Well, yeah, I mean, in the same way that you usually won't play your page until at least turn 3. It's not usually going to be turn 4, turn 5. It's usually going to be like more like turn 8. But that's still faster than like the typical time to Champion. Like significantly faster. This is like you play the first omen on like turn 3 or 4 and your opponent does too, and then you play the second one on turn 5 or 6 and your opponent does too, and then you play the 5th one on turn, I guess it's 7 or 8.
7, yeah.
Whereas, page, it'd be like turn 3, turn 5, turn 7, turn 9, turn 11. By the time you get that far out, maybe you can shorten the shuffles, right? But anyway, it should on average be at least a turn or 2 faster to come online, assuming that omens are a thing that people want to play.
Yeah.
All right.
Then we have sickness. At the start of your turn, choose one. Gain a curse onto your deck or discard 3 cards. Oh. Harsh. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
brutal.
mean.
And I did just say, you know, I think we're gonna get a negative one. I didn't think it was gonna be this negative.
Yeah,
that's brutal.
That is pretty. Discard 3 cards is like so harsh if you don't have like any, I don't know, incoming draw at the start of your turn.
Guide or whatever, yeah.
Or guide, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not an attack, so attack defense won't help you.
Yeah.
I honestly think you're gonna take curse kind of a lot when you get hit by this because
discard curses run out.
Well, that and discard 3 cards is so bad.
Also, it doesn't say like if the curse is run, then that's fine, right? It doesn't say like.
Yeah, you can once the curse is run, it doesn't do anything.
It doesn't say like if you did, you don't have to discard 3 cards or something, right? Because like.
Yeah, no, it's fine. You once the curse is run, everything's fine.
It's not a triumph type card. Yeah. Triumph. Well, it's not a like if you did this. Then
gain an estate if you did. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Okay. Yep. But yeah, this is so. I mean,
brutal. So this could be like a prophecy where you might want to play around the prophecy and maybe not want to gain omens.
Right. Certainly that's possible, but I wonder like how often it's going to be in the interest of one player to like turn the prophecy on because it's worse for their opponent. So like one example might be if your opponent gets like a witch, you know, or some other curse junker, maybe you turn this on because you're like, well, I'm going to get curses anyway. But this way my opponent gets some curses too, or gets hit with a discard attack, and that's kind of evening things out. You know, or if your opponent like is hitting you with a discard attack all the time. All right, well, you get one too. Yeah, I think some stuff like that will come up, and then sometimes it's going to be like, well, I want to play this omen card enough that I'm willing to put us into this like bad state, because if I'm the one playing the omen card and getting value from that and you're not, then we're both going to be equally affected by sickness, but I at least am getting the value out of the omen, so like I'm still ahead, right? Yeah, I am glad that there is something like this among these. I think it's like an interesting thing to deal with. I mean, it could really to some pretty brutal games, but you know, it's fine. Just take all the curses and then it'll be done. So don't worry about it. Like, it's what could go wrong with that? I don't see any problems with taking a whole bunch of curses.
None. We love curses in this household.
Yum.
I am in somewhat of a philosophical dilemma with the art because I don't like it, but also doesn't it fulfill the brief? Yeah. If I don't like it. Yeah. So I don't really know how to talk about it.
Yeah, that is a thing. If it's a sufficiently like negative.
What do you think that thing is on the floor? Do you think that is some sort of like a incense lamp or something?
I can't tell. I'll have to look at the high resolution version.
Okay. And the final preview card for today is the event called Gather. 7 cost. Gain a card costing exactly 3 coins, a card costing exactly 4 coins, and a card costing exactly 5 coins.
Value.
Wow.
It's 5 coins of value plus 2 buys.
Amazing. Sounds like a good card to me.
It does sound pretty good. It's not gonna help you get the early 5 that you want because it's cost 7. So like this is more of a mid to late game thing. It will be useful for pileouts, but not necessarily super useful because like if you care about piling a 3 and a 4, then it's just giving you the buy basically.
It doesn't say once per turn.
No, No, you can keep buying it. So like, yeah, that's not a problem. But
so there's your pilot.
Well, right. Yeah, you just buy this 10 times and you can empty 3 piles.
Yep.
Assuming that there's a 3, a 4, and a 5. Problem solved.
Perfect.
But yeah, I mean, I think like you could compare this kind of to Pilgrimage, where you buy Pilgrimage twice and you get like 3 cards in play of your choice. This is faster. Pilgrimage does say once per turn, so you can't do just like 8 coins and 2 buys to get 3 cards of your choice, which is a big limitation of Pilgrimage. This, you can get this stuff immediately, but obviously what you can get is a lot more restricted. But you don't have to have a copy of it already, which is nice.
Yeah.
I think one question that's going to come up, from time to time is like, how often is it worth it to buy this in order to get a 4 and a 5, and then you have to take a silver? Mm-hmm. And I think the answer is going to be often. Like I think that's frequently going to be like actively good to do. So like maybe the way to put it is, don't be afraid to take a silver in order to get the 4 and the 5 that you want. Like, I think it, like, it's not at all uncommon to be in the situation where you're like, oh, I have 7 coins. I really wish I had 8 or 9 because I want like 2 of these 4s, or I want this 5 plus something else. Like, what, I don't know. What do I do? I don't really want a 3 because there's no good 3s. Like, it would just be silver. This, you still take the silver here, but like you get the cards that you actually want. So that's quite nice.
Yeah, and it's also not. Yeah, like you can gain treasures, you can gain duchies, you can gain knight cards, so it's not restricted to action cards or anything. That's very nice. And then imagine this with cost reduction. That's gonna be nice too.
Well, yes and no, right? I mean, it kind of depends. Like, is there now like a 6 cost that you want or whatever? Like, yeah, that's gonna get complicated with cost reduction.
But if there's no 6 cost, then that's fine. You just gain your 5 and your 7 cost.
5 and 7. Oh, you mean like if you have 2 ticks of cost reduction? I meant like 1 tick of cost reduction. So now you're gaining like a 4, a 5, and a 6 essentially.
Yeah. Gain your Marcus. Gain your Marcus.
Gain a Marcus.
Marcus. Your Marcus. Gain your Grand Market.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes there will be a 6 that you want, and that's great. Sometimes it'll just be like, you get a gold, which, I mean, I was just saying don't be afraid of silver, but like, gold here is...
But be afraid of the gold.
Well, it's not be afraid of it, but it's like a big part of the value of this is you get the 5, right? 5s are usually like the cards that you want, like gold less so. I mean, you still get a 5 here though, like, because the 5 would be now the 4, so I guess it's fine actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this seems, it's definitely not like the best event ever, but it seems pretty nice, pretty strong, and yeah, just like, watch out for cool tricks you can do. Like, just wait until you have a game with like this and Destrier. Oh, you have to
Yes, what?
It needs to be in the other order. If it was a 5, a 4, and a 3, then you gain 3 Destriers. But you can't because it's in the wrong order. Oh, disaster. Disaster.
Does that matter?
Yeah.
How do you know?
Well, okay, I'm not 100% sure that you can't choose the order, but I'm fairly sure that because it's listed in the order that it's listed.
But with like develop, you can choose.
Develop specifically says in either order, I think.
Really? Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of other effects like that, like, does prosper or like populate say in any order? Let me. It might. It's like it doesn't feel important. Now, it just says gain 1 card from each action supply pile, but I guess intrinsically to that, like, there's no like first pile that you like should be taking from that. Let's see if I'm right about develop. In either order.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm pretty sure this will require that you gain the 3 first, and then the 4 first, and then the 5 first, which is very sad for Destrier.
Yes and no, because like you are guaranteed to gain 1 Destrier. Yes, it's sad that you can't get 3.
I want 3. Give me 3. You're not guaranteed to gain 1 Destrier. Maybe you've gained a whole bunch of cards already, and Destriers cost 2.
True.
But
then they will cost 0 at the end, so...
Yeah, it'll probably be fine.
It will be fine. We will be fine.
Yeah. Just like, if you gain 1, I would just be, like...
It would be fine. It would be
really cool if you, like, gain 1 card earlier, and then it's like, gain a 5, Destrier, gain a 4, Destrier, gain a 3, Destrier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or is there any other neat stuff like that you can do? Like, you can't really do anything terribly interesting with Wayfarer with this.
Nah. Fisherman has to be your 5.
Yeah.
But presumably not.
I mean, it's good with Triumph.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Just gotta roll it with Triumph.
Right.
It's gonna happen eventually.
You can use this to gain 3 changelings value.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Is that the same artist that did the Rustic Village? The Rusty Village?
I don't know. Let's see. No.
Okay.
It's the same artist that did whatever this is. Rapid Expansion.
Huh. Okay. I like the motive. I don't like the execution.
Okay.
Yep. And those are my cents.
Thank you.
Do you have more?
More cents?
Mm-hmm.
Not really. I think the art for that one is fine. I think it would have been cool, like, to play off of like the Forager art a little bit more. Like, I think it's cool when art references other art, like how some of the art references like the village art, and like Forager has like somebody picking an apple. So I think it would have been like this, since they're doing the same thing here basically. Well, I don't know if it's actually apples or what, but it would have been cool to like have like some more like direct reference to that, but it's fine.
This is fine. We're fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yep. So that will do it for today's previews. Just one more day of previews tomorrow, and then after that, at some point, either later in the day or maybe on Saturday, I believe the rulebook will be released, and that will have all of the cards. At which point, I will. So we'll do the previews tomorrow, and then I'll also go through the whole set once that's available. And I may or may not have company for that exercise.
Yeah, because I may or may not have patience to do all of that.
Yeah.
But I will be happy to talk about the art. So.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, and see you all tomorrow.
Bye.